as entrepreneurs, most of us do or should have high expectations of ourselves, and especially if you've already achieved something so big, you've already achieved many goals, or you've already got to a certain position, that you would expect this kind of reward every single time that anything happens. You kind of always expect the success to come to you, and this is where a lot of people fail. Now, if you've reached this stage as, on online business or an actual business where you've achieved something big, you've achieved the goal, then you kind of have this, you've kind of built up this ego, and it happens to, it's kind of inevitable really, unless obviously you can do a few things that I could also mention in this video that can sort of break that ego a little bit, just so it's healthy ego rather than too over expecting. But sometimes if you have these high expectations that are too high for something that's going to happen, you can end up in a down phase. Some people end up giving up, right? And that is why 99% fail, because even if you can get to this certain position, it's still not guaranteed that you carry on going, just because not everything is all sunshines and rainbows. So what I want to talk about is with expectations. If everything was always going right for every entrepreneur, there would be no richest person in the world, because everyone would have so much money if everything was going right all of the time, And, there's a reason why you can work on something for so long. You could work on a business, you could work on, whatever for 2 years. Then you can have a win, because it's kind of inevitable, right? If you put your all into something, it's going to pay off, definitely at some point, sooner rather than later. And that's what happened to me, right? I hit my goals. I've been working up for so long, hit my goals, but then still now I still have down phases. Like right now, this is why I'm making the video, because right now is not a crazy upward spiral phase. But obviously, I'm not going to give up. I'm never going to give up, because I know my mission, and I understand that times like this are going to happen, and I understand that the only way to get out of times like this is by pushing and working even harder than before, and just basically not caring about the results. So, I'm not saying that everything's going down, because I'm definitely at a better position than I would have been, a while ago if this has kind of happened. And I'm still positive, still happy about it. So that's the most important part. But you got to understand, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times. You got to just understand that either way, whether you're having a good day, you're having a bad day, you've got to get everything done on that to-do list of yours. You got to get every task finished, and you got to just end the day productive, whether it was a good start to the day, a bad start to the day. And when it comes to ego-wise, as I said before, healthy ego is fine. And, you can have a big ego as well. I'm not going to lie, I've got quite an ego. And it just kind of builds up from being in business, even going to the gym, stuff like that. It happens. But one way you can sort of break your ego is by doing something or joining something that you're not good at yet. So, for example, for me, I used to do karate as a kid. I used to just do martial arts. Stopped doing it for a while, played football for a while, gave up on football. So again, football was kind of something I hadn't done much before. But I wasn't good at football, but I got better than I was when I started, right? Because that's how practice works. If you keep doing something, you're going to get better at it no matter what. And if you actually dedicate yourself to something, you actually want to try and become better at something, it's kind of inevitable. It just happens. And that, again, same applies with business and stuff. You want to get better at something, you want to build a skill. If you actually try and build the skill, you actually dedicate yourself to building the skill, you're going to get the skill, right? But I then started kickboxing, which, like I say, I've done karate before, but kickboxing is majorly different, because kickboxing is kind of more Muay Thai as well, especially is a lot more attack. Obviously there's a lot of defense in it as well, but it is a lot of attack. And like I say, I kind of threw myself in the deep end, hadn't really done anything like that before, but I've learned, right? I've been doing it for a year now. I've learned, I've got a lot better than I was when I started. I'm not saying I'm crazy good, but I'm better than when I started, and that's the point, right? That's an ego thing as well, because you can't walk into a place like that you know nothing about, you haven't done it before. You can't walk into a place like that with an ego, because you just, you spar and you get beaten up. Well, not technically beaten up, but you know what I mean. You don't do as well as you think you do. You don't perform as well as you think you do. And that is kind of a healthy way to sort of limit your ego in a way, just to understand, there's going to be times that are tough. There's going to be things that you can't do, but you just got to understand the only way that you're going to be able to do it is by trying and putting in the work. So if you are going through a difficult time right now as an entrepreneur, you know, maybe business wise, maybe family wise and stuff. Family wise is a little bit different though, because that, you know, that can be a lot more important. But when it comes to business wise, it's savable, right? You can easy, well, not easy, I shouldn't say easy really. You can come back from a down phase in business. So you got to just understand that if you're going through something right now, I'm not sure if you're religious and stuff as well, but I believe when I go through tough times and stuff, it's God putting me through a tough time because it's preparing for something much better. And with the art of delayed gratification, that better thing might not happen tomorrow. You know, I will have to do some difficult tasks today. I've got full to-do list next to me. I'm going to have to do them. Not every task is going to be fun, not every task is going to be easy, but I'm still going to do them. And then I've got to understand that even though I'm probably not going to get rewarded tomorrow for that directly, even though I believe that if I finish my tasks and I do what I'm meant to do, and then I'll get like a sale afterwards, or, you know, I end the day on a pretty good day, I understand that that is the reward for putting in the work. But sometimes that reward does not come straight away. And the reason for that is because God needs to know that you're prepared for that reward, because rewards and handouts don't just come to everyone. Because if everyone was granted with their, you know, with good luck, everyone was granted with, you know, being able to run a successful business, everyone was granted with having loads of money and everything like that, the world would not work properly, because money would become valueless and there'd be no status or anything to gain from actually trying. So that is kind of the reason why, you know, someone with money is seen as not higher, but do you know what I mean? Like, someone with, if you look at like the difference between a rich person and a poor person, you always think that the rich person, that you always think that they're very different. And even though in a lot of cases that's not the thing, because, you know, so many self-made millionaires now, especially with like online business and everything, you just got to understand that, like, this kind of level, there's not a crazy difference between them. It's just staying dedicated to one thing and never giving up, and that is a lot harder than you think. And I was thinking about this actually. I've just finished a gym workout, by the way, and I was thinking about this in the gym as well, and I've heard someone say it before. Building your dream body is arguably easier than getting rich. And the reason for that is because building your dream body is a straightforward path in a way. Even though technically, you know, you got to have this meal, that meal, it's straightforward, right? You go to the gym, you lift weights, you know, you stick to a training program. Okay, maybe that might not be so straightforward because you've got to find the right thing, but it's not too hard to find a good training program to fit your needs, right? You eat good, you stay consistent. That is literally the art of building your whole physique. It's basically a straightforward path. Whereas building a business and getting rich is like a zigzag path, right? And the reason for that is because it's not always straightforward. As I say, when you're building a good physique, right, the only real like down phases you have is if, you know, you get injured or something prevents you from going to the gym, stuff like that. Overall, you go to the gym, you're going to gain muscle, right? Whereas when you're working on a business, you put in loads of work, you're not guaranteed to get results. And the reason that's harder is because a lot of people, if you don't have the right mindset for it, it's so much harder to kind of work on something that's not going to pay you out at the end. It's so, even though, like, you know, for maybe some of us watching, for a lot of you watching, for me as well, it seems like, okay, I could do that because I've been used to, like, not getting paid out for putting in loads of work before, so I can do it again. But some people, especially if you're just starting, you have these high expectations, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and it kind of, like, affects you when it comes to, you know, actually what you're expecting to get from the work, even though sometimes you've just got to let the work flow. You just got to put everything in and just understand that in the end, you're going to get rewarded for it, because God's watching over, right? And every move you take in the right direction is going to be taken into account. And eventually you'll get lucky, right? That's the art of luck. You'll get lucky in the end from putting in loads and loads and loads of effort, and just, you know, working when no one else is, because that's what it takes. And obviously, like I say, I've definitely not made it yet. I'm pretty happy with my progress so far, but I've got so much further to go. But again, I just stick to this phase. I'm going to stick and do the tasks on the to-do list, even though it might be a bad phase right now. It's the only reason it's like a bad phase right now, technically, even though it technically isn't if you compare it to before, but, you know, like compared to recently, is because it's a testing phase, right? Like right now, I do organic dropshipping, if you don't know. And if you want to know what that is, then I'm not really, you just go and check out the channel, right? It's a pretty simple concept. It's like paid ads dropshipping, but you're just posting on social media anyway, instead even. And I'm going through a testing phase right now. So I've already got some products on the go that I've had quite long term already. I've just been like kind of running them. But then I'm going through a testing phase right now because obviously Q4 is coming up and I want to make sure I've doubled down on some winners anyway. So I can get to a certain point where I'm like getting, you know, consistent from a few different products. And then obviously when Q4 comes up, I can just take them to the moon even more as well. And then eventually brand them and stuff like that. So that's kind of what's happening right now. A testing phase is not always fun. It's not always easy. It's not always, you know, any of those things. But a testing phase is always worth it, I'd say, because, you know, putting in all that effort is going to pay off. Pardon me. So that's kind of what I want to say for this video. If you've got high expectations, just understand that, you know, it's not always going to come easy, because if it did, then everyone would have what they wanted. And there's a reason why your dream car is your dream car, and that's because not a lot of people have it in sense, and because it's not easy to get normally as well. So that is kind of the reason why you need to sort of not have crazy high expectations for the rewards, and just understand that you got to put in loads of work. You got to just go no matter what, and you'll get rewarded for it eventually. So kind of all I want to say for this video. Hopefully you've took some value from that, some mindset kind of things as well. But yeah, I just kind of let my brain run through it again like I do in most videos. So thanks for watching. If you want to follow more of the journey, then please consider subscribing. I'm going to end this video here, so I'll see you in the next one.